The advice for an aspiring screenwriter, to study movies and study scripts of the genre or the type of film that you like, and just keep reading those and get a sense of how the form works. And I remember first reading them and being overwhelmed at how these words could create images in my mind in a good screenplay, and say, that's really great. And so if you don't have a mentor that can guide you personally, then studying movies and how they work, and studying the scripts themselves and how they're written, can be a really important first step. And it may help navigate when we come to read books on screenwriting, because then you'll know, well, does this make sense or doesn't it? And I can't say that I'm an expert on screenwriting books, because there's so many. I know a few, and I know some that are really helpful and valuable, and I'm sure there's a lot of other ones out there that I don't know about. So that can be a helpful guide. I just would suggest sticking with books that open your mind to possibilities, rather than an artist tends to be someone who wants to expand and be unstructured and creative impulses. So we tend to resist instructions. You must follow this, and this. But so there's a natural tension there, but there still is an attraction to that too. Wow, I can follow these steps. This happens here, this happens here, this happens here, and I'm all set. And that can also limit you. But I know one person in particular who's a very successful screenwriter, who used the Sid Field book and had no other teacher, and certainly studied movies, but it was helpful. And so they can be helpful. And certainly if you start with something like that, Sid Field, known for being more of a formula, let's say, certain things happen at certain times. And we have the other ones, popular ones, to Save the Cat. If it helps you launch something, at some point you'll get good and you'll be able to overcome the limitations, because there are limitations. But I'd hesitate to say don't use it, because if you don't have any other teacher, at least you have some kind of guide to help you get started. But it's good to compare what you're hearing from advice with movies that you see that are successful and that are that work for you as a writer. Presumably, you want to make movies because you are inspired by something you saw, and that's what you hook into. And it's good to think of yourself as a screenwriter, as a filmmaker. That Alfred Hitchcock said that a film is made before it's shot. It's made on paper. And you can solve quite a few problems on paper first. I guess I'm using the word paper, and maybe that's dating me. It can be solved on PDF. It can be solved on a little computer screen first, before it's made. But there was a story I was told by the man who wrote Psycho. He said that at the end of the process, because Hitchcock wasn't a writer, but he worked with writers, and at the end of the process of writing Psycho, they had a last meeting with the producer, and while they're waiting for the meeting, Hitchcock seemed to be in a very unhappy mood. And the writer thought, well, is something wrong? He asked Alfred, something wrong? What's going on? And Hitchcock said that the movie is done. Now I got to go shoot it. And that, not a bad attitude. A writer can consider themselves a filmmaker. who solves these problems of filmmaking before it's shot.